Okay, let's step into this place. Imagine you're on this platform. It's completely solitary.
Mm.
The air's really still, maybe a bit heavy, almost that faint metallic smell like old coins or something.
Okay.
There's this single lamp overhead and it's flickering, shadows jumping around, making you feel a bit
Right.
uneasy.
Unsettling.
Then you hear it, just a whisper, almost a train whistle. But it fades so fast you almost think you imagined it.
Ah, yes. That distant sound.
And you're just standing there, alone,
Yeah.
with this feeling, this sense that something really important just slipped away, like a door just clicked shut somewhere far off.
Mm.
What is it about these moments, these train dreams? That's what we're exploring today, trying to get a feel for the language of these inner journeys.
It's interesting, isn't it, that feeling you described, that sense of echo, of resonance, even when the details get fuzzy around the edges.
Yeah.
That empty platform, the train pulling away.
Yeah.
It touches something, doesn't it? Something that feels very personal, but also somehow shared.
Exactly. Like a tune you half remember.
Yes, or a feeling that's right there, just out of reach of memory.
Precisely. And our listener today, let's call him B,
Yeah.
they keep coming back to this exact scene.
Okay.
They talk about feeling like they're right on the edge of something huge, a kind of trembling anticipation.
Huh.
But their feet just won't move, stuck fast. There's this ache,
Mm.
like between what the mind knows and what the dream is showing.
Mm.
It feels significant.
That sense of being held rooted to the spot.
Yeah.
It suggests a really powerful internal pull, doesn't it? An invisible tether.
An unseen force, they said, coming from deep inside.
So the question becomes, what inside you is maybe hesitating? What part is reluctant to move forward, even when there's this feeling of, I have to hurry, I'll be left behind?
Right.
And that familiarity B mentions, is it truly a memory? Or maybe the echo of another dream?
Or something else.
Or something deeper, tied to the core of who you are. That heaviness they feel, that sense of being anchored, you can almost feel the weight in their words.
And what's really striking is how the scene shifts. Sometimes it's one station, sometimes another, hazy cities in the background, even glimpses of different lives flashing by.
Ah, okay, so the setting isn't fixed.
No, but the feeling is.
Yeah.
That knot in the stomach, the prickle on the back of the neck, and always that silent scream inside, hurry.
Yeah.
But they can't move.
Mm.
It's like the emotion is the only constant thing in this shifting landscape.
That persistence of feeling while everything else changes, that really highlights the emotional core, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The specifics, the details, they're almost secondary, fluid. What matters is that constant undercurrent, the urgency, but also the complete inability to act.
Like being trapped.
Exactly. It's as if this platform isn't quite in the waking world, but it's not fully in sleep either. It exists in that twilight zone, a threshold.
A liminal space. Yeah, I like that. A doorway.
Mm-hmm. Between states.
B feels it too. Like being caught between wanting something and having it. Between
Yes.
who you are now and who you maybe want to be.
Yeah.
And time gets weird there. Really weird. Like it stretches out, pools. Seconds feel like hours.
Uh-huh.
But paradoxically, you always feel like you're already too late. It's crushing.
That distortion of time is so key in these kinds of spaces. Our usual sense of, sequence, cause and effect, it just seems to dissolve.
Right.
And feeling perpetually late, maybe that points to some underlying worry about missed chances, or just a sense that time itself is slipping through your fingers.
Right.
Lots of people feel that during big life changes,
That makes sense. And then there's the luggage. B mentions this open suitcase.
Okay.
Just sitting there, contents spilling out onto the platform. Clothes, papers all loose, old photos. Even a kid's drawing. Faded, but still vivid somehow.
Wow.
Just paints this picture of, chaos.
Yeah.
A life not quite under control. And that drawing, even though it's old, it hits them hard. Emotionally.
That suitcase, it's like fragments of the self just laid out, isn't it? Exposed.
Yeah.
All these bits and pieces, memories, ambitions, worries, all jumbled up. It mirrors that feeling of being stuck, unable to act decisively.
The internal chaos matching the external.
Exactly. And the child's drawing, the power it has, even without a clear story behind it. Could it be a longing for something lost? Innocence? Or maybe just a connection to a part of yourself you've forgotten?
A simpler time, maybe?
Perhaps. A time before things felt so burdened.
And clutched in their hand the whole time. A ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crumpled, damp even.
Mm-hmm.
And the destination, totally smudged,
Yeah.
unreadable. It's like
Yeah.
where you're going doesn't even matter as much as
Yeah.
the need to just go. anywhere just to get out of this waiting.
Yes, that illegible ticket really shifts the focus, doesn't it? It's not about point A to point B anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the desire for movement itself. Progress, just getting unstuck. It speaks to that deep, deep urge to move beyond the current situation, even if you don't know where you're headed.
Or maybe you're afraid to know.
That too. Maybe the ambiguity feels safer than committing to one specific path, especially when the urge to move is so strong, but maybe also frightening.
And time is just mocking them. They look at their watch, B says.
Yeah.
And the hands are just spinning wildly, a total blur. Makes you dizzy just thinking about it.
Chaos.
But the platform doesn't change. Rock solid, unmoving. While inside, there's just this sheer panic.
That watch, it really hammers home that feeling of being trapped, where the normal rules just don't apply anymore.
Right.
And the contrast, the unchanging platform versus that frantic internal state, it highlights that sense of, well, powerlessness in the face of whatever this inner conflict is.
It feels like something has to give.
And then often it does, or seems to. The spinning watch almost feels like a prelude, doesn't it, to the train itself.
Exactly. Then comes the sound again. An approaching train? Or, hang on, is it the same one? Coming back. Can't be sure.
Okay.
The headlights just cut through the darkness, really sharp and piercing. And for just a second, B feels this totally irrational urge.
What is it?
To just step onto the tracks. To just surrender. Let the momentum take over, be carried off without having to decide anything.
Ah, yes. That impulse. It's fleeting, maybe terrifying, but it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It does.
That profound wish to just be moved, to give up the struggle of control and trust some outside force. It's a powerful image of wanting to escape that paralysis, a yearning for something else to make the first move.
But something pulls them back.
Yeah.
Like an internal safety brake kicks in right at the last moment. And that's when it starts to click, maybe, this realization. This dream isn't really about the train.
No.
It's about the waiting. That space between arrival and departure. It's about all the stuff you leave behind on that platform in your mind, the things you can't quite let go of.
Precisely. The train is the focus, the symbol, but the real experience, the core of it, is the waiting itself.
Yeah.
It's in that in-between space, that anticipation, being on the edge of something.
Yeah.
That's where the dream's true meaning lives.
And as this clicks for B, the whole scene starts to dissolve. The flickering lamp just sputters out. Darkness, the suitcase, the papers, they fade away. Gone.
And what's left?
Just a feeling, a sensation, like a deep vibration, wheels on rails. It feels primal, ancient, eternal somehow.
That resonance.
And even as the platform vanishes, B is still there, suspended in that vibration, still waiting. But for what? They still don't know.
The scene dissolving marks a shift, doesn't it? Moving away from the specific images, but that vibration,
Yeah,
it
sad.
lingers.
Yeah.
A reminder of that underlying energy, that rhythm of movement, of potential that keeps going, even when the dream itself fades.
And it feels like we're going deeper now, like beneath the surface story of the dream,
Okay.
there's this silent current, like an underground river, shaping the whole landscape. You can't see it, but you feel it. And then these whispers start up, you're running late, or you're scared to leave, things like that.
Familiar anxieties?
Yeah, but they feel shallow somehow.
Yeah.
Like masks, covering up something much older, much more primal, something
Yeah.
without a name.
That's compelling. The idea that the anxieties we can easily name, the ones we recognize, are just expressions of something deeper, something harder to articulate. Like the dream is tapping into a really fundamental layer of the psyche. Before words, almost, before clear fears.
And B starts seeing the train differently too, not just, transport
Oh, how so?
as a metaphor, a really potent one. For, desire, forward momentum, life force even, the pulse of existence.
Wow.
And so not being able to get on, that becomes about resistance, doesn't it? A fear of surrendering to life's flow, a fear of vulnerability.
That broadens it out considerably, yes. The train, as a symbol for so many core life energies,
Right.
it connects this very personal dream to these huge universal themes: longing, progress, and all the anxieties that naturally come with them. So the resistance, the not boarding. It could be about a fear of change itself, stepping into the unknown future.
And you start thinking about echoes from the past, maybe, from childhood.
Oh, you mean...
Those times you waited, waited for permission, for approval, or just waiting for a parent to grab your hand, feeling that urgency in their voice, or a teacher's expectation.
Yes, those early waits.
They seem small, but maybe they leave these deep marks, like little seeds planted way down that bloom later in dreams like this. The image B has of the child still clutching that unreadable ticket. It really hits home.
Those embedded experiences, they definitely shape us. Early patterns of wanting, needing permission, feeling limited. They can echo throughout our lives, fueling later anxieties. The child part of us may be still waiting for something missed, still holding that ticket. It can have such a strong pull.
So the big question becomes, what would it actually mean to catch the train?
Right.
Would it satisfy some deep gnawing hunger you didn't even know you had?
Yeah.
Or would it wake something up, something you've kept buried, maybe even something you're afraid of?
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? Is the dream about filling a lack? Or is it about embracing a hidden potential? A part of yourself waiting to emerge? It taps into how our deepest desires can be both incredibly attractive and, well, deeply unsettling at the same time.
It reminds me of, Freud's idea that desire often hides, whereas disguises,
Ambition, curiosity.
or even fear itself.
Exactly. And the train, representing that forward movement of life. Well, getting on board requires trust, doesn't it?
A leap of faith.
A willingness to open up to uncertainty, to what might feel like chaos. It demands courage.
Which maybe isn't there. So instead there's this pattern, watching the train leave again. And it leaves this hollow feeling, a real ache of longing.
Yeah.
But also, this is strange, there's a kind of comfort in it.
Comfort in the longing.
Yeah, a familiarity in the emptiness. Like you can pretend, oh, well, that train wasn't for me anyway. It's a known feeling, even if it hurts.
That paradoxical comfort, it's a fascinating defense mechanism, isn't it?
How so?
It lets you avoid confronting the real fear, the anxiety tied to actually going. Staying still, even in that familiar ache, can feel safer than the unknown possibilities of movement, of change.
So the stillness itself becomes a kind of power, a way to rewrite the story.
In a way, yes. It allows for that pretense that wasn't the right train, the destination wasn't worth it. This ticket, just a prop.
All to avoid facing the fear of the journey itself.
Precisely. Inaction can feel like control, even if it's ultimately an illusion. It lets you build a story where staying put is a choice, not a result of fear or resistance.
Well, so fear, desire, longing, they're all tangled up together here.
Yeah.
Inseparable. And there's that nagging feeling, Dee says, of an inner voice, something inside that knows why they keep coming back to this platform, this dream, better than they know themselves almost.
That inner voice, the unconscious, you could say, often holds a kind of deeper wisdom about our true motives, our hidden anxieties. The recurring dream is like a message from that inner self, trying to show us truths our conscious mind might be trying hard to ignore.
But it's not just the train they're waiting for, is it? Dee mentions these other figures, fleeting glimpses on the edges of the dream. Faces you almost recognize, then they're gone. Hands reaching out, then pulling back. Echoes of promises may be broken. Connections denied.
Fragments.
Yeah. It feels like maybe the waiting isn't just for the train, but for something else. Or someone else. These fragments feel like parts of the self, maybe? Unacknowledged parts, wanting to be seen, brought back in.
That adds another really rich layer, doesn't it? These peripheral figures, suggesting a longing for connection, maybe resolution with past relationships or hurts, or even reclaiming lost parts of oneself.
Where reclaiming them requires
movement, risk, engaging with the world, with others beyond that lonely platform.
And instead, there's the hesitation, the lingering, the delay. Because sometimes, honestly, waiting just feels safer, even if it's stagnant. Safer than arriving, maybe. Facing whatever's real beyond that dim threshold. The fear of the unknown can be incredibly powerful, keeping us stuck.
That perceived safety of waiting, it's a strong counterweight to the desire for change, isn't it? The familiar discomfort can seem preferable to the potential unknowns, the anxieties of stepping into something new.
But what is beyond that threshold? B senses a light there, but it feels intense, like it burns.
A revealing light.
Yeah, like it would expose everything.
Yeah.
Vulnerabilities, old wounds, things you thought were healed but aren't. Those parts of you that still crave connection, belonging, but you've buried them so deep you almost forgot they were there. It's like those parts surface on the platform. They speak in symbols because maybe words are too direct, too painful.
That burning light, it represents that potential for real self-awareness, maybe healing, but also the intense vulnerability that comes with it. The dream platform becomes a kind of protected space, doesn't it? Where these deeply buried parts can communicate through symbols.
So maybe the point of returning isn't actually catching the train or getting an answer.
What then?
Maybe it's about confronting why you don't act, why you stay. Maybe it's about seeking permission from yourself, permission to finally move, to change, to leave the familiar behind.
Seeking internal permission. That's a really powerful insight. So often, the real barriers aren't out there, are they? They're internal prohibitions. We haven't given ourselves the go-ahead to pursue what we truly want or need.
Then the whistle blows again,
Huh.
but it's softer this time, almost like a sigh.
Ah.
The train comes and goes, but it doesn't have that same forceful pull anymore. It's not anchoring B in the same way. The dream is still there, the feeling, but it's not something to solve like a math problem. It's just an experience, felt deep down.
The softening of the sounds, the less imposing train, it suggests a shift in the dreamer's relationship with it all, doesn't it? It's moving from being the source of huge anxiety to something more neutral, a gentle marker of the process.
The train leaves, the platform starts to dissolve for good this time, but the emptiness left behind feels different. Not despairing, more like possibility,
Yeah,
like potential. Even the fact that the ticket is gone just vanished,
yeah.
which it brings this weird sense of lightness, relief.
That shift from oppressive emptiness to potential-filled space, it's a huge sign of internal movement, isn't it? Growth.
Right.
Letting go of the ticket, that symbol of the mischance, means releasing that specific anxiety.
Even the sound of the wheels,
Yeah.
it changes. It's not the sound of departure anymore. It's more like listening, like the world is just quietly listening.
Mm-hmm.
And those whispers from the platform, stay, wait. They don't feel like commands now, more like invitations. Gentle invitations to just pause, maybe reflect.
That subtle change in sound, the shout and the whispers, it points to a real change in perception. Waiting isn't being forced on you anymore. It's becoming a conscious space for reflection, for self-acceptance.
And this thought pops up. What if the waiting? What if it's in failure? What if it's just being?
Yeah.
Just being present in the space outside of time, outside of judgment.
Reframing waiting like that, not as something wrong, but just as a state of being, that can be incredibly liberating, can it? It changes your whole perspective on those in-between times we usually judge so harshly.
And the space itself seems to change subtly. The air feels cleaner, there's a little breeze, even the platform as it fades. The light seems warmer, the cracks softer, the tracks look more fluid somehow.
Wow, lovely.
It makes you wonder about endings, in dreams, in life. Are they always so sharp?
Those subtle shifts in the environment, they mirror that internal shift beautifully. The softening of the hard edges suggests more acceptance, maybe more resilience. Inner peace, perhaps.
There's this feeling of lightness now, freedom almost, replacing that heavy weight of waiting, and that the knot in the stomach is gone, replaced by this gentle warmth. It's not quite happiness, not peace exactly, but acceptance, surrender maybe.
That change in physical sensation, the lightness, the warmth, those are really strong signals of emotional release, a move toward a more accepting, maybe even self-compassionate state.
And then a step away from the tracks, toward the unknown, off the platform.
Okay.
But it's driven by curiosity this time, not fear. Each step feels deliberate, like rediscovering your own rhythm. The platform fades behind, but you know it's still there, a place you could return to, but it's not a prison anymore.
That conscious step away, guided by curiosity, that's reclaiming agency, isn't it? Embracing the unknown. And the platform receding, but remaining. It's a powerful image of acknowledging the journey taken, where you've come from.
The whole scene just gently dissolves into waking life.
Yeah.
But the boundary feels thin, permeable. The dream lingers, not like a sharp memory, but like a deep hum, a whisper in the back of your mind.
That lingering presence, it suggests the dream resonated deeply, didn't just stay on the surface, it left an imprint on the emotional landscape.
And the question, what does it all mean? It's still there, but the urgency to answer it is gone. The focus shifts. Just noticing the feelings left behind, the subtle changes. B catches a glimpse in the mirror later and something looks different. Eyes softer maybe, standing a bit taller. A lighter expression.
That shift from needing answers to just observing the effects, that's significant. And those subtle changes in self-perception, they suggest a real internal transformation has begun.
And moving into the day, that lightness from the dream stays. Just a quiet certainty. A willingness to meet whatever comes next, another platform maybe, or just open, trackless possibility.
Carrying that feeling into waking life, that shows the dream's positive potential, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That quiet certainty, that openness, powerful signs of increased resilience, inner strength.
So maybe in the end, this whole train dream thing wasn't ever really about a literal train or a destination on a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was always about the internal journey, an exploration where sometimes just waiting, just being on the platform, can be its own kind of arrival. And the process, the exploring itself, that's what truly matters more than any fixed answer.
That feels right. The external symbols, the stories in our dreams, they're often just powerful mirrors for our inner states, aren't they? Guiding us, if we listen, towards understanding ourselves better, our patterns, our fears, and ultimately our capacity for growth, even when the way forward isn't clear at all.
So for you listening, think about your own recurring dreams. Maybe they hold similar kinds of personal meaning, waiting not for you to crack a code, but just to feel into them using your own emotional language. Where are your waiting places? What might those inner scenes be whispering about your own deep desires, your unspoken fears? And maybe consider this. Perhaps the truly important journeys aren't the ones on rails or roads, but the ones we take deep inside the landscapes of our own minds.